Welcome to the Fortuna Admissions video blogs. My name is Matt Simmons. I'm one of the directors at Fortuna and feel very fortunate to work with colleagues who have worked at 13 of the top 15 business schools. I have more than 40 colleagues that were admissions directors, associate directors. And today I'm joined by Julie Ferguson, who was a senior associate director of admissions at Chicago Booth. And also, Julie, you were at the Wharton's Lauder Institute. Thanks very much for being with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Now, of course, years of admissions experience working with two of the most selected business schools on the planet. And both schools would operate with typically three rounds of admission, in the admissions cycle, much like their peers at Harvard Business School, Stanford GSB. Now, this year, Harvard decided to do away with round three so that they could just focus on those early stage college seniors applying for the 2+2 program. And traditionally, very few places left at round three at these top schools. So what's your take on round three? Is it worth it? And how do you need to explain that you're only now coming to apply to business school just a few months before class will start in the fall?
Right. So that's such a good question. So I'll kind of take a step back and say, first, you do want to actually evaluate that the school that you're applying to has a round three, and look at the deadline and determine if timing for you and where you are in your career makes sense. So in my mind, I'm thinking someone that works for an accounting firm this time of year is going to be really busy, and you're probably chained to your desk, and you're not going to be able to dedicate the kind of time and focus that it's going to take to put together a really strong application. So timing, I think, is going to be one of the big factors for you personally as a candidate to really be honest with yourself about whether or not you have the time to actually put together the application. The other piece is to be really introspective about how you stack up against your own set of peers. And if you stand out within your own set of peers, then round three could be a great opportunity for you to apply. So what schools are looking for in round three is to fill a very specific niche or demographic profile that they haven't gotten from rounds 1 and 2. So in some cases, some schools might have 5 spots that they're trying to fill. In other cases, some schools are looking at about 10% of their class to fulfill in round 3. So, the odds are a little bit less favorable, sort of Hunger Games style, applying in round 3, but there's definitely a chance of getting admission. People do get in round 3. But you have to be really honest with yourself about whether or not you have the time to put together a compelling application. But also, if you truly are a standout in your crowd already, right? So your peer set at work, are you doing work that's above and beyond your sort of pay grade? Have you been promoted multiple times over, your colleagues that came in at the same time? So you want to be really honest about that, and then determine your competitiveness for a round 3 application.
So if you're Stephanie Lawrence or you're the founder of Snapchat, then there might be a space for you in round 3. But that sort of self-assessment, which actually I guess applies at any stage in all of them. And any advice then, given the number of places already filled at these top schools, does that mean that you're then trying to leverage that background experience any differently? I mean, the schools still want very thoughtful, well put together. This is no time to rush just to make that round 3 deadline in the hope of starting business school 4 or 5 months away, right? Right.
So one of the things that you want to think about with the round 3 application is how do you present yourself to the admissions committee in that thoughtful, introspective way that doesn't seem rushed or doesn't seem that applying for an MBA was an afterthought? I think that's one of the problems that we run up against with round 3 is, well, why did you wait till round 3? So if you have any sort of extenuating circumstances that have pushed you to round three. So whether it's something with work, say you were on an international assignment and you just didn't think you were going to be able to apply for an MBA this year, but all of a sudden your assignment ended and you're back and it's the right time, you want to make sure that you present that information. You make that very clear to the admissions committee of, sort of your reasoning behind why you're applying in round three. Now, if you really are truly in the boat of, well, I applied to all my other schools rounds 1 and 2 and I didn't get in, so round 3 is kind of my, Hail Mary shot at getting into business school, you still want to be sure that you've made an effort to understand what the culture of the school is, what the school will give you in terms of helping you fulfill your career vision, so on and so forth, that they're actually able to provide the kind of environment that you're looking for, and that you really customize your application as such to make the school feel that they were not sort of a last round pick, so to speak.
Right. And in another session that we recorded together, we talked about building that rapport with the school, whether that's campus visits, webinars, info sessions, connecting with students and alumni. And just as important for those schools you're applying to in the final round, that they don't feel that they're an afterthought, and you're just I want to get in somewhere so that I can start my MBA in the fall. They need to see the love too, right? And that you've taken the time to really align your background, where you're hoping to then head next, and where their business school can help you to achieve that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the key components of applying to any business school is having some sort of interaction with the school. So hopefully at this point in round 3, maybe you had some interaction with the school, early on in the process, and then you decided not to apply. You'll want to play that up a little bit, right? And play off of that. Now, if you are in the position that you have not had any interaction with the school, you really haven't shown an interest in the school until now, you can still apply in round 3 with the sort of expectation that you're probably not going to get in. And then, make your determination of then how do you reapply to that school, if that is indeed a school that you are interested in applying to in round 1 in the fall, is to look at it from the perspective of, okay, what can I do in between round 3 and round 1 to change my candidacy for the school. So you have to start thinking about that before you even apply in round 3 is, okay, my chances are really slim of getting in. How can I utilize the time between round 3 and round 1 to change my profile and make my application stronger? And if you don't see a lot of opportunity to be able to do that, you can maybe hold off on the round 3 and apply in round 1, where you can actually take the time and, craft a much stronger application and a stronger profile for that school.
So MIT Sloan that has added a round 3. They didn't used to have one. Booth, where you've worked, Wharton and others, they'll always argue, well, we wouldn't have a round 3 if we didn't use it, if we weren't,
right,
filling places. I mean, you're also managing a wait list that can accumulate not just from round 2, but some people have been on that wait list from, back in December and round 1. So take us to the admissions offices where you've worked at these top schools and you approach these applications in round 3. You're also being mindful of who you've admitted, who you might have on the wait list, but still that same sort of discussion with colleagues about what might this individual bring. So we're trying to put our best foot forward, and if we are determined to apply in round 3, we've really got to apply with the strongest possible application to then give ourselves a chance.
So I think one way to look at it is that if you're applying in round 3, you're competing not only with the other people that are applying in round 3, but like you said, Matt, you are competing against people that may have been put on the wait list in round 1 and round 2. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have less of a chance of getting in, because the people that were perhaps put on the wait list in rounds 1 and 2, the admissions committee are sort of waiting to see what else comes in and then fill in those gaps that they might see in their profile. So for most of the schools, they publish, a breakdown of who is in the class, right? From what country they've applied from, their industry, their role, their job function, male, female, where they're from, what their background is. And they're trying to craft the most diverse class possible. But you can only craft as diverse of a class as the people that apply, right? So round 3, and the wait list become the admissions committee opportunity to kind of fill in some of those holes that they might see and find those more specific profiles that they might be looking to attract into the program. So yes, round 3, you're competing against other round 3 people and the wait list, but it's still very competitive, but you still have a chance of getting in regardless of whether the person applied in round 1 and is on the wait list or the person applied in round 3.
Well, as Julie has said, if you're watching this video thinking about round 3 or that sort of reflecting, how do you compare to your peers? Would it be better to wait until round 1? Get in touch with us here at Fortuna Admissions. The free consultation that's available to sign up for on the website, and you will have that same sort of very candid and honest assessment of your chances in the weeks to come or the months ahead. So, Julie, thanks for sharing those insider admissions perspective, based on your background at Booth and at Wharton Lauder. And I hope that people will enjoy some of the other video blogs that we've recorded together. Thanks a lot.
Great.